Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Nine podcast. Today is July the 26th, and we are getting instant reaction after the Cardinals drop one where they were absolutely dominating the Washington Nationals 10-8. They lose in extra innings. Now losers of 3 of 4 to the Pirates and Nationals. And Sonny Gray, it looks like our other number 5 starter.
Yeah, we can get to him in a second, but to add to your 4 of 6 or whatever you said, they've lost 8 of their last 13 games.
Yep.
Um, Going into the trade deadline in a time where if you're a team that's like in the middle, which I think we can fairly say the Cardinals are a middling team right now. They have been basically all year. They had to go on an incredible 2 month stretch to be middling and not be horrible, but that's still where they've been for most of the year. Your goal coming up to the trade deadline should be to, instill some confidence in your front office that this is a team worth investing in, and they haven't done it. There's some positives to take away from today and the last 6 games. Goldie and Arenado seem to be at least hitting for more power, which is great. Some of the guys at the top still doing some really cool things, but overall, like there's just not enough firepower in the offense right now. And Sonny Gray just has been unacceptable the way he's performed. Like if you want to be an ace on a team, and I know I'm not questioning his work ethic or his dedication or any of that. I will never do that. I don't believe he's one of those guys that you can do that with. But he just straight up has to be better, or this team's not doing anything. And if he's not better, they legitimately don't have any playoff starters because we've been talking about how they need to get another one alongside him. He doesn't even look like one right now.
And if we're being honest right now, this, like you said, sort of, this couldn't come at a worse time. If we're going to be really, really honest, we've said it quite a bit, and I thought when I talked on June 1st when I made my prediction, I thought this offense would be better. At times they've shown flashes, but if we're going to be honest, they're the third worst in the NL in runs scored.
Mhm.
They're in the bottom third in almost every offensive category. And yeah, the potential is there, but how long can we keep talking about potential with this entire team? When you look at the offense, one guy is in the top 36 in OPS in Major League Baseball. One, Alec Burleson.
Okay,
And
you have to give a caveat though.
what is the
So
caveat,
Contreras
Caleb?
has been one of the best hitters in baseball, but he was out for a while.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Then do you want to go ahead and say two in the top 40? Like, is that a team that's going to
Well, Wilson
win?
would probably be in the top 30, I would guess, top 25, I would guess. Well, I don't
Again,
know. Like, I don't
two
know.
in the
He has like a
top 40
900.
then. Let's go ahead and put Willie in there. Two in the top 40 is what you have. Is that a
Yeah.
winning contention of a team when you have Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, Lars Nootbaar, who we've been heard about for years how great he's going to be, Brendan Donovan. I mean, Wynn has had a really good year, and I'm not saying Donovan hasn't had a good year. Please understand that. However, this team is not clicking offensively.
They
Tonight
don't
they
have
did. They scored eight
stars.
runs. They scored 8 runs tonight. However, you scored three
Yeah.
runs over a weekend versus the Pirates. In 3 games, you scored 3 runs and you beat Paul Skeens 2-1. Like, I don't know what
Yeah. I
you want.
mean,
I don't know what
well,
you
we
want
talked,
anymore from this team.
well, we talked about this a lot that their way of winning wasn't sustainable. Like they were winning and they were relying on Fernandez, Romero, Kittredge, and Helsley to be perfect. Those guys can't be perfect at all. Like they just can't. So if you're going to be in 1 run games, 2 run games, going to extra innings 4 times a week, 5 times a week, you're going to start to lose some of those games. That's why when you look at teams that lose a lot of 1 run games, you say they're kind of getting unlucky. And if they win a lot of 1 run games, you're saying they're the Marlins of 2023. That now we see what happens when they're not winning every 1 run game. So yeah, I mean they were playing with fire and now they're getting it. And I think this comes like the first guy we need to talk about tonight, other than Sonny, is Dylan Carlson just like can't be on this team anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about the major league team. He can't be in this organization anymore. There was a ball today. He's there for defensive hitting lefties. He went over 4 with 3 strikeouts against left-handed pitching today, and he misplayed 2 balls in the outfield, all costing you 6 runs combined. I think 5, 6 runs. 6 runs. I'll count it because the 4 runs in extra innings he led to that. They win this game without him. Like he was a -6 run differential in the game today.
Yeah, it goes back to once again, and we talked about this with Kyle and Kareem last time. It's the roster creation, and you can blame Mo. I don't who the blame is irrelevant at this point in time. You're sitting on a team where you have Brandon Crawford, Matt Carpenter, Pedro Pajes, Michael Ciani,
Pedro's been
and
good.
Dylan Carlson. Hold on, just listen. As your last 6 guys, it's 6 of your 13.
Pedro's been good though. Like Ciani's been good. Like those two do not belong in that
They've been
category.
fine. Okay, so let's talk about the other four then, Caleb. Dylan Carlson, Brandon Crawford. You brought Matt Carpenter in because you needed a veteran presence. What has he served? Legitimately, what purpose is he serving
Well,
right now on
okay,
this team?
you can't act like we're gonna like every bench player on the team, or they be starting.
But hold on. Let me ask you this: are there others in the organization who are better and could be serving a better purpose on this team? And
Other than
my
Dylan
answer is
Carlson,
yes.
yeah, but I don't know who you're bringing in for Carpenter or Crawford. You need a
What
backup
I'm
shortstop, and you
I
need
mean here.
and Carpenter's not a bad left-handed bat off the bench, but you don't have a better one in AAA.
So okay, fine. Let's leave Carpenter in there. Whatever. Brandon Crawford, give Prieto a chance to be the backup shortstop.
He's not a shortstop. He doesn't play shortstop. You can't say, "Hey,
He
you never play
can.
shortstop in the minors. Why don't we bring you up and play shortstop in the majors?" That's not a thing. You
I,
can't do
you
that.
you can.
Like it's
They
okay to have two guys on your bench that aren't very good. Every team does. Find me a team that has four good players on their bench. You can't.
we have four guys on our bench who can't hit.
Okay,
Four.
then the problem would be Dylan Carlson, and Paz is on like a 13 game hitting streak or something. So I think he's fine. But
He
well,
goes one
that's
for
once again
four.
like if we're gonna talk about the problems with the team, talking about the backup catcher and backup shortstop feels a little bit misguided to me.
That's
That's not the
fine,
problem.
but it's all part of this roster creation where Ivan Herrera is now who has an 800 OPS and who is one of your six guys on your team. Six that have an OPS plus
It'd
over
be seven
100,
now.
over above
Nolan's
league
above
average.
100
He's
now.
sitting in Memphis.
Nolan has to be above 100 now, right?
He might be as of tonight. So maybe we have seven. It's very possible Newt Bar dropped down though. So I don't know.
No, he was 0 for 1. He didn't.
Okay, well then he probably
Um,
didn't.
yeah, I mean, Ivan Herrera should be on this team. They're going to trade him, I would assume, if there's someone out there that wants him that they want to trade with. I don't know. I think Dylan Carlson's there. Like I said, I wanted to focus on. We got sidetracked. It's just not working anymore. Like it seems like a toxic relationship for both sides. He's not playing with confidence. He's not playing much, and when he does, it's just not good. And the Cardinals just keep putting him in there. Like, who would you rather have against a left-handed pitcher right now, Nootbaar or Carlson? I don't even care what the numbers say. The answer is Nootbaar. Like you really
Absolutely.
feel like he has a chance to do something. He just can't. He can't be here anymore, and it sucks. He's gotten and I like it sucks. You feel like he kind of got screwed a couple of times, like especially at the beginning of this year, getting hurt. But at some point, as a major league player, you've got to take control of your own career and do something about the opportunities you've been given. And he has not, just hasn't. So
Agreed.
I
And we
like. I don't
talked
know. Do you think he can be traded, or do you think he has to like just be cut loose?
I, well, they won't cut him loose. They'll send him to Memphis before they cut him loose. They won't do that.
I mean,
Um,
at that point, dude, just let the guy go. Like let him go.
I know, but I'm saying they won't because they value him as an asset or a potential asset. So they're
Maybe I
not
don't know.
going
They
to.
let Juan Yepez go,
Yeah, but I think Juan
who, by the
Yepez
way,
was a
had three
young
hits
center
today.
fielder who was the first round pick. So I don't believe that those two guys are the same. You
Juan
know,
Yepez 3 for 4 with a game tying RBI double too.
of course. This is okay. Let's move on for just a minute because the the one funny thing to me, like that you go into Pittsburgh and you and I both talked on here, probably going to lose to Skeens. They beat Skeens. That was kind of wild that they
Yep.
beat Skeens. But no Pirate starting pitcher had pitched into the ninth since 2005. And Paul Skeens did it against us. Now we did beat him 2-1. I understand that.
No
But is that
Pirates
not wild?
pitcher pitched into the ninth.
Since 2005.
That is
It
wild. I mean, I was trying to. Who they Garrett Cole never did it.
I mean, I all I can go is by the stat that I saw, and I think it was actually from Brad Thompson who said it. That was wild. That was a wild
That
one
is
to
wild.
me. But
He's just
or it might have been Roboski on the post game show. Either way,
Oh, then it's
whatever.
probably not true.
That is valid. But that was crazy. I just don't have any answers right now. And for the people out there who I know you had a little Twitter beef, not beef, but whoa, you all right?
My arm is like spasmed.
I know you're getting your blood pressure up. You got to chill out a little bit.
Maybe I'm having a heart
Uh,
attack.
By the way, for those of you following and listening along, thank
You
you so
just
much.
like
Hit that follow and that subscribe button. It might help Caleb's shoulder a little bit. So
you
if
just
you could do that,
completely changed train of
that
thought.
would
You're like
be
a
awesome.
dog.
But it it's lending credence a little bit to those
No,
who say we should sell. And
it's not.
okay, I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to be honest. I also do understand the devil's
I don't.
advocate. As a fan, I don't want to see them sell, but it is very hard for me after how many games have we played? I should know the number. I don't know what it is. It's over 100.
100 and
Right.
something.
Yeah. This team, I mean, it's hard to look at them and say, yeah, this team has what it takes to go deep into a playoff run. I understand that the obvious argument is, well, you could like there are all these different people you can point at. Most recently, the Arizona
but
Diamondbacks. I understand that.
it's not. But here's the thing: that's not an argument; it's a fact.
Okay,
We
it is
don't.
a fact.
This
Hold
isn't
on.
the NFL.
Who won the NL Cy Young last year?
The NL Cy Young last year.
Yeah.
Blake Snell.
Okay, who finished second, and who won it the year before?
Zach Gallen's never won a Cy Young. If that's what you're
Okay,
saying.
well, I think he finished second last year. So let me apologize for that. He finished second. We don't have that guy. We don't have that guy.
Okay, who finished second in the Cy Young last year in the AL? He's in
I
our rotation
understand that.
currently.
Okay, he is not pitching that way for us. Zach Gallen was.
Zach Gallen was horrible in the postseason.
You're not listening to what I'm
Okay, but
saying.
he wasn't the
You're
reason
trying to
that they went
argue
on
to
a
defend
run.
your point here.
But
What I'm
Zach
saying
Gallen wasn't
is
the reason they went on a run. He was one of the reasons they almost lost.
he was the reason they got in the playoffs. You had a number one. And then when you got in, it was him, Kelly, and Fott. They don't have those three guys. They don't.
Fott was horrible the entire season. So if that's the reason you're pointing to once again.
He wasn't horrible at all.
Yes, he was. He was like a 5 ERA guy last year.
Okay. Either way.
Well, I just don't like
do you
that's
see the
just,
Cardinals?
No, I
do you
don't
see
agree.
Michaelis, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, and Sonny Gray doing that in the playoffs?
They're in a playoff spot at the beginning of yesterday. So
they're
like
not
they
now.
can't get in the
and
playoffs.
The Mets and the Padres are rolling.
But we're getting to the for now. But we're getting to the point. But what your point was, like they're a game and a half out of the playoffs. They need to go at to get into the playoffs. What are we doing then? Trade Wilson Contreras, trade Sonny Gray, trade Nolan Arenado, trade Paul Goldschmidt. Because that's just then what are we doing? Why is Sonny Gray here? Why did we sign him? Why is Wilson Contreras here? Why did we sign him? That makes no sense. If you're a fan of a team and you don't want your team to go try to win the playoffs, then I don't understand why you're a fan. Like, what are you a fan of? You're a fan of hoping for next year? What are we, the Cubs now?
I understand. I agree with you. Please understand that I agree with you. I'm letting you know that it does the way this team has played. And you just point out they've lost 8 of their last 13 games. That lends credence to not stealing off prospects to bring in rentals. That's all I'm saying.
The Dodgers have been a 500 team for 2 months. Okay. So they should sell.
Who are the Dodgers get? Are we getting a Walker Buehler, a Clayton Kershaw, and a Tyler Glasnow back?
Walker Buehler's not coming.
Are we getting a Mookie Betts back?
That's not. But you get my point. You saying a 13-game stretch means you should sell is ridiculous.
No. That first of all, what was the first thing I said?
You said it lends.
It was over the last 100
games.
We have learned that this team is sort of middle of the road. Now, can they get hot?
Then make trades that make it better. Like that's kind of what every team does. That's
so what are those?
Diamondbacks have been worse than the Cardinals the entire year, and they just made a trade. The Mariners haven't scored a run, I don't think, in like 10 years, and they just made 2 trades. So like, I don't understand. It's only Cardinals fans that do this because we look at our prospects and we say, oh, all these prospects are going to come up, and that's the future. Okay, what are we talking about today? Dylan Carlson needs to be traded. So I'm tired of hearing about wait for all these prospects that may never do anything. Tink Hintz might never be a starter in the major leagues. I like him. I think he could be. He might be a reliever. We don't know. Like Quinn Matthews might just be a 1-year guy that was really good coming off of college, and he might never turn into anything. I hope that doesn't happen. But what are we waiting for? Then why do we have Arenado and Goldie and Contreras and Sonny Gray? Why do we have them?
Well, I would think with the performance of 3 of the 4 in the last month or so, there are a lot of people asking the same thing.
Arenado's been really good over the last.
I want you to understand that I agree with you. I want the team to go for it. Here's what concerns me. And I'm not saying to sell, but by no means. Like I do not believe the team should do that. I'm saying what has happened lends credence to people who are in that camp. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't agree with them. But however, here's what I will say. What I will say is if you're not going to go for it, and in the back right behind me, you see there's a reason that jersey is hanging there. I'm not saying they're going to get Brent Rooker. I'm not obviously Mason Miller's not coming here. But here's the problem. Like if you're not going to go get an impact guy that you have control over for the next couple of years, then dealing top prospects for a rental who potentially makes you better, maybe gets you into the playoffs. Maybe. Like that's not what this team needs to do. And I think that's the fear. Hold on. Let me finish my point. Stop talking over me. That I think the problem and the fans have is they've been burned by this outside of 2022. They've been burned by this so often to where the move is J.A. Happ and John Lester. I understand they went on a 17-game amazing run and got in there, and then they got knocked out. So whatever. All right. So that's the thing, though. Like, are you going to go trade one of your big prospects for a guy who just gets you in and you lose anyway? Or are you going to actually make a run and add an impact arm? Add an impact, maybe reliever. Maybe add an impact back. The team obviously needs one. I'm not talking Kevin Pillar. I'm not talking Lane Thomas. I'm not talking Tommy Pham. I'm not talking any of those guys. I'm talking an impact bat. One that actually helps your team, not just this year, but moving forward. That's what scares so many fans, I believe. Mo has not shown the willingness to do that.
Yeah, yeah, but I also like if we're talking about trading for rentals, you're not trading your top prospects. Find me an example of a rental getting traded for top prospects. That rental that if the rental's not named Max Scherzer and he has a Trey Turner coming with him, like that, it just doesn't happen. So yeah, I mean, it all depends on what teams want. If no one wants the Cardinals, 10 through 15 prospects because they don't like them, then yeah, of course they might have to trade more, and then we'll get to that point when we get to it. But like, yeah, they need to go get a bat that can hit lefties for sure. They need to go get and they need to go get a starter that's like better than Kyle Gibson or at least as good as Kyle Gibson with strikeout stuff. That's what they need to do. And if Mo wants to make a statement and he never does because whatever at this point, but if he wants to make a statement and say I want to win this year and I'm going to go make a move that proves that, he should go trade for Jack Flaherty. That's what he should do. Swallow his pride because we know no matter what he says, they did not like each other. That was not well reported on. He did not have the best relationship with Jack Flaherty. That's what he should do. That's the guy you get that's like, okay, now we're cooking because he can be right up there with Sonny or better. And then you go get like even if you get a Mark Hanna with him, that helps you a lot against lefties. And I like the lineup against righties. I like Burleson and Nootbaar and Donovan and Gorman. Like I think those guys are going to be good. And I think Arenado and Goldie have been way better lately. They both homer tonight. So like I don't think that it's as doom and gloom as like the run scored make it look. Um, but I just think you take a chance. Like, did you think the Cardinals were going to win the World Series in 2006?
Oh no, that's the worst
What
team to
about
probably ever win the
2011?
World Series. And in the
What about
history of
2011?
baseball, that's
Okay, what
probably the
about
worst.
who
Hold
cares?
on.
They won the World Series. I don't
I
care.
get it. I'm just saying.
And that's also not true. That Nationals team. Okay, whatever. 2011. Did you think they were going to win the World Series?
We did not have a Steven Strasburg on that
Okay,
team.
2011. Did you think they had Adam Wainwright and Chris
He
Carpenter,
was he
right?
was yeah, he was not even
You're
pitching in
gonna
that
sit here and
series,
tell
I
me
don't
Steven
believe.
Strasburg was better than Chris Carpenter? Anyway, 2011. Did you think they're gonna win the World Series?
No.
So what are we doing?
Okay.
Why would you
Do you
not? So
let me
what if Tony decided Tony and Mo, even though you give all the credit to Tony, what if Tony decided, let's keep the future, let's keep Colby Rasmus, because it's not our year. It's obvious through the first 100 games,
so
this isn't our year. We wouldn't have a World Series.
my retort to that very simply is, yeah, if you're going to get a Pujols, if you're going to get an Edmonds, if you're going to get
Okay, now
a
you're just being
Berkman,
ridiculous.
if you're going to have a Dave like that, okay, then
Edmonds
okay,
wasn't
hold
on the
on, then
2011
let's
team.
realistically look at what happened in 2011 when they pulled the trigger of dealing their prized possession in Colby Rasmus and brought in four arms that helped them. All right, so is Mo willing to do that with somebody in this farm system? Is he willing to make a trade to bring in a guy like Rafael Furcal,
Okay, you're
who all of
missing
a
my
sudden
point.
became
It
the
doesn't
leadoff
need,
guy that this team
dude.
did not have and
Okay.
became a spark plug? Do we have a Chris Carpenter in the
Okay, first off,
rotation?
you're missing my point completely because I'm not saying that it has to be a carbon copy of the 2011 team. I'm saying in August and July, I mean July, you don't know who's going to win the World Series. You don't know if your team's going to be that team that gets hot. You have no idea. But you do know that if you're in a 1.5 games out of a playoff spot, that you should freaking go for it and see what happens. Because if not, why do they play the games? What are you in baseball for? If you're not trying to win a World Series, you're
I
in it for
I
next year, for 5 years down the line, when
you
Gorman's already gone and Donovan's gone and New, because those guys aren't going to be here that much longer. So when are you going to go for it? When Wilson's 34, or when Arenado's even worse than he is now, or when Goldie's gone, or when Sonny Gray's in the last year of his contract? That's when.
you and I are in the agreement of go for it. I just think we're looking at it differently. I'm not saying don't get Jack Flaherty. I would love Jack Flaherty here. But how many years can you just go into trading a prospect for a rental that gets you in the playoffs and you get swept? Like that's what's happened for the
Okay,
last
what
every
prospect
year
that
they're in the
they've traded
playoffs.
at the what prospect that they've traded at the deadline the last 2 years has hurt us? Which one?
I'm not okay. I'm not
Tell me
saying
one.
that. But those prospects potentially could land you something. I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate here.
But that doesn't make any sense to me. Like they traded Harrison Bader for Jordan Montgomery. I'm not
Does Jack
crying over it.
Flaherty to you make this team a top tier NL team?
It gives you a 1-2 punch that if they're pitching well, you could win any series against anybody. Yes.
Does so the concerns of Sonny Gray are you have none. You think he bounces back at any time
I
because
think he'll
his
figure it
last
out.
is he?
Who knows, dude? We cannot do this where every player struggles and we assume they're bad now. That's not how
I'm
baseball works.
That's not what I'm saying. But
So you
I
tell me you
read
think
a
Sonny's gonna have a 6 ERA the rest of the year?
I'm concerned about the velo drop. I'm concerned about a lot of things. Yes, I am concerned. That's all I'm saying. I'm not
What's
saying
his
any of
velo
that.
drop down from?
I just saw
He's
a
never
stat where
thrown super hard.
I'm just saying velo's down. He's not throwing fastball as much as what I saw earlier. So that is a
I
concern.
don't,
That's all
yeah,
I'm
someone
asking.
said that, but I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Hold on. I mean, it wasn't down much today. He was throwing 93. Like, that's around where he sits. I'm not gonna write off Sonny Gray, like at all. Like, you can't
Okay.
be that
I
reactionary
agree.
to 5 bad starts in a season. Like, you can't.
So if let's again, I'd ask you many times to put a hat on. What are you doing right now to make this team? Because I don't think they're going to catch the Brewers. I thought they were. I still think the Brewers
No,
aren't very
probably
good.
not.
And with Yelich out now, which sucks for them and sucks for baseball for him to be out, I just don't think that they're going to catch. I don't think that this team has a win 9 out of 10 game run in them right now
Yeah,
because of
they'd
the
have
pit.
to go probably like 15-5 in a 20 game
Yeah, and I
stretch to
don't know
catch him.
that this team with the pitching as inconsistent as it's been
Yeah, probably not.
has that in them. So you're staring down the wild card, which right now you're in pretty much a race with the Braves, the Mets, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks, and the Pirates. We can't. I
Pirates, yeah.
don't know. Do what?
Pirates, I think, are a half game behind us. So yeah, they're right there.
So that those teams. In what world? What would you do? Give me the GM Caleb Noble that would make this team end up in one of those three spots because right now I mean, you're on the outside looking in, and something has to give. And the majority for me has to happen within that clubhouse. That's what I'll say.
I think offensively, it almost has to come internally, outside of like a Mark Hanna piece, like someone like that. And that doesn't have to be him, but someone like that who's like a legitimate lefty, like he's gonna kill lefties is what he does. That's okay with that role, right? It's not like Dylan Carlson who was put in that role as a 22-year-old who's still trying to make his way in the league. A guy that's a veteran that's gonna give you good at bats, like Tommy Pham would be great. Someone like that, just because they're just not good enough against left-handed pitching. It's just the reality of it right now. And then you need to get a starter like I mean, Jack Flair doesn't have to be the guy even though I think he's far and away your best option. Like it's not even close. Um, that's the question. Do the Astros win the next two games and the Rangers lose the next 2 games?
Yeah. No. No.
If that happens, do they sell?
No.
Because they'll be like 6 out then.
Well, they're only if they lose. Did they lose? They
You know
lost
what
tonight.
makes me mad about you? You know what makes me mad about you? That you say there's some credence to the Cardinals selling. We're a game and a half out. The
No. No. No.
Rangers
No.
are
No.
currently hold on. Hold on, not done. Rangers are currently 3.5 out of the West with 2 teams that are clearly better than them ahead of them. And then they are 6 games out of a wild card with 5 teams to jump, and they just can't sell those Rangers.
Let me explain. Let me
Don't look at
explain.
next year, Rangers. Look at this year because winning is everything to everyone but the Cardinals.
Let me explain two things to you. I do not one. First of all, you said that all I said was it lends credence to the people who believe that. Though, if you're going to sell, Ryan Helsley has to be at the top, and I don't think they should
No,
do
we're
that.
not trading Ryan Helsley. Stop
Agreed.
it.
So I do not believe they should sell. I do not. Okay, I told you that. All I said was what's happening is lends credence to those who do. All right, so
No,
let's
no, no.
squash that one right now. Two, I do not agree that the Seattle Mariners are better than the Texas Rangers, who are about to get back Josh Young, Evan Carter, and they're about to get back Jacob DeGrom. All right. So, and Marcus Semien has started to hit, as is Garcia, as is Jonah Heim. Like, no, I do not agree with that at all.
Oh,
I
so
think
when
they're,
their
and I
players
also
start
do
to
not, I also, Kyle Tucker, nobody knows what's going on with him because he's still
right.
not back. And I do not agree that Houston is diabolically better than, dramatically, not diabolically, dramatically better than Texas either. And
Okay, second
all I have been
question.
trying to say to you, and I was proven right. I would like, unless it changes by Tuesday, but Texas has said all year, our goal is to get to the All-Star break and get healthy. That's what they did, and they're like 7-3 in their last 10. All right, yeah, they
Second
lost a
question.
heartbreaker tonight.
Second question.
Yes,
Marcus Semien and Doris Garcia have been bad the entire year. Okay, basically.
until lately. Marcus Semien's been
Yeah,
really hot
okay.
lately.
Until lately, right? So when Arenado and Goldie start to hit lately, it means nothing. But when those two do it, put the banners up to making the postseason.
Here's the thing: Arenado and Goldie have started to hit, and they scored 3 runs against Pittsburgh in 27 innings. Look at what the Rangers have been scoring on a nightly basis, and then we can talk.
They lost to a selling Blue Jays team today.
Okay, all
And
right,
scored 5. We at least scored 8.
and lost,
No,
and
but we scored 8.
with your ace on the mound.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, it was bad. Anyway, yeah, I I don't know like who's out there, what pitchers out there. Like Eric Fetty is an interesting one because he has been really good. A lot of his he's been lucky a little bit, but as lucky as you can be with that trash White Sox defense behind you, where your best player doesn't seem to care at all about anything. Um, and he's been pretty good, and he's got some good stuff. And he's making $7 million next year, which is a really cheap price for him. You could honestly trade Steven Matz in the offseason if you bring in Fetty, and you could save $4 million by getting what I assume is probably a better pitcher. Um, is that a guy that interests you? Like, does that move the needle at all? My hope, I'll answer first and then I'll give it to you.
Okay, let me.
My whole thing is, hold on. My whole thing is that I can't imagine a world where Eric Fetty's shoving in the postseason. I can imagine a world where Flaherty's doing it. I could have imagined a world where Eflin was doing it, which is who we'd be talking about right now if the Orioles didn't trade for him. Um, I just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like bias. I don't think he's gonna be good in the postseason.
Also, we'll get to that in the Eflin trade in a minute, but that was wild that it did not feel like the Orioles had to give up too much. I know there were a couple names in there people are
I don't
intrigued
know.
by.
Like, I just don't know.
Right, we never
Here's the
know.
thing as
That's
well,
the
like
thing.
with
You
the
never fucking know.
and also like with the Rays though, the Rays are so specific with who they target
Yes.
that I never question who they're getting back, even though it doesn't always work, because they're very specific with what they look for. So on the surface, I might be like, I don't get this pitcher they're getting,
Right.
but they might see a pitch that they can turn into an elite pitch. So I don't know.
100%. And we have no idea how any because all the
And they might
ratings
have
are
just
fugazi. All
yeah,
of them are fugazi.
And the Cardinals might have been like, hey, we want Zach Eflin, and they would have said, all we want from you is Quinn Matthews, and the Cardinals were like, I don't want to do that, and then they moved on.
Okay, let me ask you this because I don't think this is getting talked about enough. And I've seen it a little bit out there, but not enough. Let's say you go trade for Eric Fetty. I'm using him as an example, who in my mind is still a number 3 through 5. I don't think he slots ahead of,
He's
I mean,
he, I mean, he's been really
maybe,
good this year. Like he's
okay.
definitely not a 4 or 5. If that
So,
continues, we don't know. But if you're trading for him now, your idea is he's right there with Kyle Gibson.
so he matches up against like Dylan Cease or like you Darvish in the playoffs. Like that's the
Well, you
problem, right?
Darvish isn't probably going to pitch again. But yeah, I get what
I
you're
thought he
getting
was
at.
coming back. Hold on, I thought he was coming back.
Maybe, but there's been some weird stuff on that. I
Okay,
don't know.
okay.
But either way, like if you
Um,
want to talk about the
okay.
Padres,
Anyway,
Michael King and Matt Waldron have been awesome too. So those
yeah,
two.
right. So anyway, let me talk about that just really quickly, because I got sidetracked, which happens quite a bit, so I apologize for that. What do you do with Palante? He's arguably been your best starter. I mean, almost inarguably been, if not
He has
your
been
best,
lately
he's
for
been your
sure.
second best starter. So you just gonna then do what we've done to Matthew Liberatore, which is damn near ruin him because they have no idea how to handle that guy. And again, once again, we can go back to the roster creation. We're playing with 24 guys damn near every night because they can't use Matthew Liberatore just in case they might need him for 3 innings to give up 5 runs because don't even give me that's a whole
Yeah, they like
nother
hold
level.
him to be a blowout
They
guy at this
they have
point.
ruined Matthew Liberatore,
Okay, hold
and
on.
I've
No, let's not
so
say
let me
that
ask you.
because
Okay,
hold on.
sorry,
Don't say I don't like when you say that because that's also saying that
that
Matthew Liberatore is not going to be
that's
good
true.
again.
You're right. My apologies because I'm a Libby fan. So my
And I think
apologies.
he's been really good this year for what he's done.
Out of the bullpen, he's nails. He should be
And
right
he's
there
given some
every
great
night in the
starts too.
seventh inning.
Yeah, I agree, but I just don't like because
Okay,
like I think
so
he's been really good
that's
this
my
year.
question then. You're not taking Lynn out. You're not taking Gibby out because you brought them
Okay,
in to be those
are
guys.
you
You're
asking
not
me
taking
what they
Miles
should
out.
do or what they will do?
They're going to put Palante back in the bullpen, which now all of a sudden your rotation is weaker. It's weaker.
Okay, what they should do is DFA Lance Lynn. What they will do is put him in the bullpen, Andre Palante in the bullpen. Um, here's my thing as well. Looking to 2025, Andre Palante is penciled in as a starter for me. Straight up, like he is. He's a guy I'm saying, or at the very least, I'm saying I don't need to bring Lance Lynn back because I have at least Palante and Tank Hands, whoever, to go fight for that number 5 spot. That's how good he's been, which has been very impressive. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I almost think that they thought there would be an injury that worked this out. You know, that like one of those guys would go down, and then you'd have like an obvious spot to fill. And then honestly, they probably thought when Palante came up and he was good that he'd be the spot to fill because he wouldn't be very good. He just has been really good and been their best starter. I don't know the answer. Like it's
That's
tough to look at your clubhouse and say Lance Lynn's been better than Andre Palante, so this is a reasonable thing to be doing.
I
But that's what they'll
what I
do.
will say is in the last 11 innings in his last two starts, Lance has given up 1 earned run. Like so, you got to look at that also. I mean I understand there's some blips on the
Yeah, but
radar.
he was really bad for like a month.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. But who do you feel more? That's where I'm at. Like
I
you
feel
can
more
throw them
comfortable
all
when Andre Palante's on
when
the
you
mound
if you
than
get
almost
Eric
anyone on our
Fetty. Let's
team.
just say it's Eric Fetty. Let's say it's Cal
Yeah.
Quantrill because that's really what it feels like is going to
No.
happen. or
Just
somebody like that.
let's say Eric Fetty because he's actually
Okay,
like
fine.
someone he's
Then
decent.
can you not just throw all four of them in a fucking hat? Like that's the problem, right?
Well,
Like
no, I
how
mean
do
you
you
look at Eric Fetty and he's like inarguably been better than all four of those guys.
so you go into the playoffs and you're looking at Gibby and Lance Lynn not pitching? Is that what you're looking at?
I mean Eric Fetty is a sub 3 ERA.
Okay, so that's your number
So
that
like so that's your number two. Like that's who. And now if you don't believe, I'm not sure if I believe he'll continue to do that. But I'm just saying, like, if we're looking at what they'd be trading for and banking on, is that he continues to be that guy, and he'd be your best pitcher. Like he would be even better than Sonny. For me, like Kyle Gibson's my game 3 starter. And ideally, if they get someone that they need, which is a guy that's better than him, Kyle Gibson's a perfect game 3 starter because you feel like he's going to give you a chance to win, which is really like we watched the playoffs last year. That's what you need from a number 3 starter in a playoff series is a guy that's going to give you a chance and not kill your bullpen. And that's what he'll
yeah,
do.
I
And you
get
need
it.
your top 2 to be really good if you're going to go on a run. That's just how it is. Now, I don't know if Eric Fetty can be that guy. I'm not even advocating for getting him. But I do think if they got him and he would continue to be that guy while he was here, like let's say he finishes out the year with around a 3.2, 3.3 ERA with the Cardinals. You feel pretty good about him and Sonny if Sonny figures it out as your top 2 going into the playoffs. Like I would have never said it in 2022 that I would feel good about Jose Quintana starting a game 1, but he was awesome down the stretch. So you just never
Here's
know. Baseball goes in waves.
here's the thing, okay, just to look at some numbers. Um, the last 30 days, that's a month sample. That's a lot of games, right? Obviously, you
Mhm.
had some days off there for the All-Star break. You Andre Palante has a 2.19 ERA. There's not a starter.
He's been awesome.
There's not a starter, Caleb. Are you ready for this? There's not a starter within 3.5 runs of him in the rest
Wow,
of your
that's wild.
rotation.
Really, Gibby's that bad?
Gibby 5.23, Lance 5.49, Miles 6.11, and Sonny Gray 6.7. So that's my question. If you're going to go get a guy, how are you? If Palante continues to pitch like it, we have no idea. We're hoping. We hope that Andre Palante continues to pitch like he has. But how can you look your guys in the bullpen and say this guy has a 3 ERA, 30 days, 30 days?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I don't have an answer for you because I agree with what you're saying. Do you think so? Is there any world where you would attach a prospect to, like, it'd have to be a good one to Miles Michaelis and try and get him out of here?
absolutely that first of all, you knew what I was
But
going to say.
what?
That
But I
was
mean, like, what
the
level
easiest.
of?
That was the
No, I mean,
layup
like,
question of the
hold
night.
on. I mean, like, what level do you think they would do that to get him off the
I,
books for next year? Like, you'd have to give up a good prospect. It would have to be like um, like a really good one. To be quite honest with you,
Victor
like
Scott,
Jerpy.
Chirpy,
Mm.
I don't know. And
Problem is,
Kyle
I
talked.
want to
First
trade
of
him.
all, I don't know enough about Connor Chirpy, so I don't want to talk about that.
Cooper.
But Cooper, good lord, Cooper Chirpy. But Kyle talked about him last week about how they jerked him around also so poorly and haven't
Yeah,
handled him well either. So like, what I mean, if we're
they
going to
haven't.
continue to mishandle our players and all these prospects that we love so much, why do we have all of them?
Yeah, yeah, that's not my point.
Caleb, look, hold on. Let's just look. Jerpy, Walker, Scott, Herrera. Think about how they've handled those four. That's four of your top 10 prospects.
Yeah. Well, Walker's an interesting one. Like, once again, don't cause the conversation. At some point, take control of your career
Yeah,
and perform.
we agree.
At
We
some
agree.
point, dude, perform. Like, I'm
But the
tired. I'm
answer
kind of
back to your
tired
original
of
question,
everyone just like
sorry,
giving on the organization. Yeah.
back to yeah. I mean, you're talking about DFA and Lance Lynn. There's an argument for me to
I
DFA
wouldn't.
Miles Michaelis.
I would ask Lance Lynn if he's willing to go to the bullpen, and if he says no, then he's gone.
And I would do
That's
the
what I would
same
do.
thing with Miles Michaelis.
I mean, he's at least giving you quality. I mean, I don't know. It's tough because they're all like the same person. Other than like Gibson, I
That's
think Gibson's good. Like Gibson's a good, really been really good this year. I know he's had some weird starts, but I mean, his start against the Braves was fantastic. His start against did he start against the Pirates? Is that right? Yeah, he was, or no, did he?
yeah.
Against the Pirates?
Friday night.
Okay, dude,
No,
and it's Friday today. You
last
keep
Friday.
saying weekend.
Oh
Yeah, that
God,
was against the
I am
Braves.
all messed up on the day. Sorry about that.
I think he starts tomorrow. But either way, Gibson, he was fantastic against the Braves. So I think he had a little bit that back thing threw him off, I think, a little bit. Um so I think him and Sonny are clearly on in a league of their own, even though I know Sonny's been bad, but let's be honest, he's still in a league of his own in this rotation. And then
He has
Scott
a
Palante in
7
this
ERA in the last month.
okay, let's not do this, dude.
No,
Okay,
I'm
Garrett
just
Cole's
saying
been bad
that
too.
all I'm saying is that's
But I
concern.
was getting to a point.
I'm sorry.
Andre Palante is in a bucket of his own where it's like I don't look he's been really good, but I just don't know. I don't know if it continues. I hope it does. And then you got the other two, Lynn and Michaelis, where it's just like Like I'm okay if they never start a game for the Cardinals again, and there's still a world where they're really good down the stretch because sometimes they do that.
My 2 cents on Andre Palante is you're right, we don't know, but you got to write it as long as you can fucking write
Yeah,
it. Like
figure it out
it's the
if you find
it's
out.
the same about Alec Burleson coming into the year, and when now he's hot. But like Kyle said, he thought he'd be good, but you could also have some ups and downs. But you ride it, you just keep riding it because he's figured something out, and look how it's paid off. You got it. I just can't stay. I can't see them bringing in, even if it's Flaherty, whoever it is, and looking at Palante and saying you're the odd man. Like what?
Okay, what about this? Okay, so you've got four older pitchers in your rotation, right? And if you get like let's say a Flaherty, we're not getting him. Like he's not gonna be the guy to go get. Let's say it's Fetty, whatever, a guy who hasn't pitched over here in a while. Do you consider going to a 6-man rotation? Because here's the thing, like they've been acting that way with Libby anyway. Like they have a 6-man rotation because he hasn't been starting every 6 days, but he also hasn't been pitching in relief. So they've been down a bullpen man anyway. And then you just say, okay, now we've got 6 starters that we can maneuver however we want. You can make it to where if Sonny wants to pitch every 5 days, you can make that happen. Either way. And then you say, Libby, now you're for sure high leverage. You're pitching out of the bullpen because we've got 6 starters. Would you consider that?
I mean, I don't
And
know
you
if they.
could do that. That's how you keep all 6 options open.
Yeah, it is. But then again. But you're right.
And
They've
you're
been
giving
playing a
guys
man down
rest.
with Libby anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And you're also giving guys rest, older guys rest when they probably need it down the stretch.
Yep. It's a great question. I don't know the answer.
I don't
I
think they
think
do it, but I don't think it'd be a bad move.
yeah. I mean, when you look at the year, you've got Sonny and Palante and Kyle all near the 4 ERA for the year, and then Lance is over 4.17, and then I mean Miles Michaels has a 5 ERA. Like if we're going to be really
Mhm.
honest, that's the odd man out in your rotation. Like I,
Yeah,
I
but
don't understand.
he's weird though. Like he's one of those guys. So we always talk about this, where it's like quality starts. If you go like the minimum requirement for quality starts, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, we consider that a decent start. Like if Sonny gave us 6 3 earned tonight, they win, right? That's a pretty solid start, but that's a 4.5 ERA if you do it every game. Miles Michaels has ups. He has some games where he goes 7 and doesn't give up any. He has some games where he goes 3 and gives up 8. But majority of the time, he's around that 5 6 innings. He's giving you 3 4 earned runs, which is going to win you a lot of games. It's not going to look good on the ERA, but he's not. He has been pretty solid lately. Like he gives you a chance most times he starts.
Yeah, I wish that. I hate that they don't. Some of these sites don't give you
Like
more
unless I'm
quality.
misremembering, like I can't remember the last time he was like really truly bad. He was really good against the Braves.
Well, I mean, he has a 6
Um,
something ERA for the last month, so he hasn't been good.
I know, but I think those are like really inflated. No, like here, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Like he goes his last 3 starts, okay, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, great start, right? We'll take that every day of the week. 5.1 innings, 6 earned runs. Don't love that. That's not good. And then against Washington, 6 innings, 0 earned runs. So you're looking at it, it's like that would be combined a roughly 11, 17 innings, 8 earned runs, which is not good, right? That's around a 4.5 ERA. But 2 of those games, he was awesome and he won you a game. You know what I mean? Like that's the weird thing about Michaelis is he'll have a really bad ERA, but you remember that he was really good 3 of his last 4 starts. Just the one that he was bad, then it was really bad.
I guess what I'm saying is if you just get Fetty, if that's your move, like you can throw
I just
like I
don't.
said, you can throw the other ones in a bucket. Like I said, like you can throw them in there, pull out
Not
a name, and
Sunny.
hope one. Not no, I'm talking about the like Gibby, Lynn, and I'm a
Okay, but
Kyle
that's
Gibson
unfair,
fan.
I think, too. Gibby's been better than those two.
He's a 3.97 ERA.
That they remember when Lance Lynn was pitching every day, giving up no earned runs, but giving up 5 unearned.
I do understand that.
Who's been better
Yes.
this year?
Yeah, I would say Kyle Gibson. I'm not arguing that.
Okay, but it's not even like close. Like it's not. Like if
But in
we've
my mind,
watched every game, it's not close.
what I would say is Lance Lynn has been dramatically better than Miles Michaelis. So that's what I'll say.
It's weird though because like his good games are going 5 and giving up 2, and Michael's is like going 7 and giving up 2. Like genuinely, Miles like Lance Lynn has not been like he doesn't go deep into games. When he blows up, he like it's like oh my goodness, what just happened? We lost the game
Yes.
in the first.
Agreed.
Like Lance has been weird. Like his good starts are okay. He went 5 innings, gave up no runs, so that helps your array a lot. But he gave up 12 base runners in 5 innings. Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel sustainable with Lance right now. And he was
Yeah,
really good his last outing, like really good.
just to your
So I'll give
point,
him that.
to be fair, Miles Michaelis has only gone 7 innings once all year. So just so we know
Once,
that.
so how many times has he gone 6? I would imagine a lot.
A lot. He's gone 6 a
Yeah.
lot.
So look at how many times he's gone 6, and I'll look at how many times And if you can look at how many times Lance has gone six, that'd be
Oh,
great.
this is great podcasting right here. Our fans have to be loving this.
Well, I honestly don't know. Like, I'm intrigued. Like, I wish I was a stat. Let's just do quality starts. How about that? What's Miles'
I can't look it
quality
up. I
starts?
can't find quality starts where I want to find them.
I
So let's
can't
just keep
either.
moving on.
I've been
This is
noticing that
terrible.
too.
This is terrible
No,
podcasting right
we do
now.
need we need to get this out there because quality starts are impossible to find. I can't ever
Yeah,
find
I
them.
agree. I don't. How are they not on a baseball reference page?
I don't know. Are they on MLB?
Like, I
Keep
don't
talking.
understand it all. No,
I'm
they're not on
finding this.
MLB either. That's what I'm saying. How is that a
That's
thing?
wild.
Yep.
You would think that would be like a readily available stat to find. I get
One
that
would
doesn't mean
certainly
as
think
much
so.
to the new era people, but I still think it's
One would certainly
valuable.
think so. But let's move
Yeah, I
on
can't find
because
it.
this is absolutely, you might as well have dead air right now. We apologize.
I
Thank
mean,
you
it's
for staying with us.
impossible to
This is
find.
Caleb's
Why is it
fault.
not here? And it's
I
not
don't
even
know.
an advanced stat, so they don't even
No,
have it.
it's not a thing. It's like no one knows about it. By the way, shout out Lance Lynn, 2,000 strikeouts. You're one of 6 active players.
Mhm.
That's pretty fucking amazing. I'm a
Good
Lance
for
Lynn
him.
guy. I just don't. I'm going to be honest with you right now. I think I'm so frustrated that I just don't know that there's a fix to this team because you're reliant on 4 or 5 guys who all look exactly the same in the starting rotation right now. I'm not saying they're not going to separate themselves because I certainly hope that they do. But the
Mhm.
bullpen has been the bright spot. Over the last 30 days, you've had some really good performances from the bullpen. Like Leahy has
Yeah, but it's
been
kind of
really good.
starting. Yeah, yeah, he's in the minor leagues again.
Now,
I do want to talk about the way we Mo deserves some blame for what's going on here. I honestly think Mo put together a better team than they performed just because reasonably we all expected the offense to be better. And anyone that says they didn't, I guess good for you, but you're probably not telling the truth. Um, the bullpen's been great, and especially Roycroft, Leahy, um, and King. Those three that have kind of been up and down. King's been more stable lately because he's been so good. He was good again tonight. Those three have really saved the season. Like, let's be honest about it. Like, yeah, Hells, Fernandez, JoJo, who looked great tonight, which was really good to see. But JoJo for the first 2 months, and then K-Rich, who's been really just the stablest presence you could ask for out there. Um, the other three, like King, Leahy, and Roycroft, they come in, they pitch seventh and eighth innings in big games, and they get it done. All three of them. They can pitch you 2 innings if you really need innings. Like those three have been awesome. Like they don't get enough credit because without them, they would have lost. I mean, they wouldn't be in the postseason hunt. I don't think without those three
agreed.
guys. So they've been
Agreed.
great. They deserve all the credit in the world because that job's not easy. Running that Memphis shuttle up and down and not knowing when you're coming up or when you're going to pitch. Like Kyle Leahy in the Braves game in the rubber match of the game of the series threw an eighth inning to hold it to Ryan Helsley. Like that's after being in the minor leagues the day before. That's not an easy thing. And those three have done a great job.
Yeah, just to hit. I mean, I know everybody's been a little bit nervous about JoJo, but over the last 30 days, he does have a 1.23 ERA. Like now, Bernie put out the point that he struck out
His strikeout rate.
one of his last 32 batters. That's a little
He
alarming.
did strike out.
How
He struck out two tonight.
correct? So that really up those numbers there. But I
Mhm.
mean, then you look, Gio with a 2 ERA like that. That's good,
I
but I don't.
what do
I
you do
don't
with
know.
that?
I don't know. I
Isn't it weird that Gio's also Liberator?
Hey, can I ask you something about
What?
that? Like with Libby, we don't have to go in deep with him because we've talked about him so much, and like obviously we are both fans of Matthew Liberatore. What what is the problem with using the Memphis shuttle more? Like when you know that you're going into it,
I've got an
these
answer.
hold on, these continued bullpen games, they just crush you for days.
Yeah, okay. The bullpen games are the problem with the Memphis Shuttle and what the league did to stop manipulating service times and all that. Because you want these guys like a Leahy, like a Roycroft to accrue service time and get paid adequately because you don't want them to be sent down twice in a week and called back up and not getting paid much while they're pitching one. You know what I mean? What they've done is they make it to where you have to wait 15 days to call somebody back up after you send them down, unless there's an injury. So if someone gets hurt, then they can come back up. So what happens is I don't know how. I think Gordon Graceffa wasn't available to come back up, I believe, because he started, and I think it's 15 days like active in season. I don't think the All-Star break counted.
Okay.
So I think that was the reason. I could be wrong on that. But as far as I'm concerned, bullpen games shouldn't happen for this team. Just simply shouldn't
Right.
happen. Like you have the problem is the Cardinals targeted upper minor league level starting pitching at the deadline last year to make this not happen. They have Robersa, they have Kloffenstein, and they have Graceffo. You got all those guys so that they can come up and do this. Like as much as Robersa and Kloffenstein might become really good major league players, who knows? Those guys aren't someone you should be worried about developing as much as you can. They are guys that should come up here, and if you need 4 innings, they can give you that. Um, and who knows? Maybe they'll be good. Kloffenstein got one appearance once again, another guy, and got his hold. Didn't even realize he was pitching the eighth inning at Rookwood and got a hold in his
Right,
first game.
right.
So like these are guys that you should be utilizing more often. I just think their planning is very poor because we knew like they didn't know that
That's
doubleheader was coming. They didn't know that doubleheader was coming on that Friday and that would or Saturday on that Saturday. And what that did was it made it to where if you were going to start a guy on the Wednesday where they lost to the Pirates, someone would have had to be on short rest, and they didn't want to do that. So that to be fair to them, they didn't know that was coming. But on Saturday, you knew. After Saturday, you knew, and you could have maneuvered it, but they didn't.
correct. That's it. It just drives you because they've done it all year, like where they've mismanaged it. And I know part of it's probably a 40-man issue as well. I understand that, but
No, they're on the 40. All those guys
there's
are.
a lot of dead weight on that 40-man roster, by the way.
Yeah, all those guys I was just talking about are on the 40. But also the problem, I think Libby was. Remember when they did this with Libby against the Braves at home, and he was like went like 6 innings, no more runs. He was like awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I do.
I think that kind I like great for him. That might have been the worst thing that could have happened.
Well, yeah, because then what they do is they just hold him back just in case there's a rain out instead
That's
of
exactly
using
what they're
him in
doing.
games where you could need outs to win a game.
They're holding him. He has a really good arm. And by the way, his cutter and slider on righties has been really good, and he's done a good job of. We talked earlier in the year how he just couldn't face righties. He was getting crushed by them. He's those two pitches have really helped him against righties. Um, and what they're doing is they're keeping him up here. He's a really good arm. Like he's a weapon. He gets lefties out at an incredible rate. But what they're doing is they're either waiting for a chance for him to start because they're worried that they're not going to have someone to do it, or they're saying, "I hope we lose by a bunch of runs so we can pitch 3 innings and we make this worth it." Like you know what I mean? Like it's like you're planning for getting destroyed almost, and it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
One thing I haven't heard you talk about, so let's talk about it. It didn't last long, but they did move Goldie down to seventh. He had a bomb in the 7 hole, but now he's right back up in the heart of the order, which against the lefty, I understand
Yeah,
that.
only against
But
lefties.
yeah, I get it. What are your thoughts? How long do you think that stands?
I think he bats seventh against righties for a while. They kept Arenado down to 6 hole for a while. He's moved back up to five. Um, I don't know. I mean, he looks pretty good. He's hit I think 3 homers since we come back from the break. Is that right? Two or three. He looks
Two,
much
two.
better.
Yeah.
He looks much better. It doesn't bother me. I'm glad they did it. I think I credit Ollie honestly for sticking with his guys as long as he did. It's frustrating as a fan. I get that, but I do understand. Like I like that he was like, those are my guys. They're staying in their spots for now. I'm trusting him. But
All right.
there comes a point where you got to move him, and I'm glad he did.
Where do we stand on these next 2 days? You get Jake Irvin tomorrow, who's been the Nationals' best pitcher. I mean,
Mhm.
late of the last few months, to be honest, maybe
Yeah,
all year. I mean, he has been. I don't think it's,
yeah.
and then you
Mackenzie
get
Gore's
another
really
lefty on
imploded lately.
Sunday and DJ Hertz. Um,
Hers is
which,
back.
yep, he's pitching Sunday, so we won't score any runs on Sunday. So you better beat Jake Irvin, who, by the way, has been their best pitcher. So there you go.
I
They're gonna
think
get.
they
What if
beat
they get
hers
swept
last
by
time.
Caleb? What if they get swept by the Nationals at home heading into
They
the
won't.
trade deadline?
They won't.
Okay, so
Um,
what? So give them. What's your prediction on the next two?
yeah, I'm such a homer, dude. If you asked me an hour ago, I would have said they should get
Did you say
swept.
Homer?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they're gonna win two.
Okay.
I think Kyle Gibson's going to be really good tomorrow. That's my prediction. I think they
Okay.
win tomorrow. And then, Michaelis, it's a coin toss, but DJ Hurts is as much of a coin toss.
Okay. I think they lose both of them.
No, you don't. That's
I do.
ridiculous.
I do. First of all, Jake Irvin is on my fantasy team, which, by the way, has been
We don't
imploded.
do
I have blown
wins,
it
so that
up.
doesn't matter.
Right. But he has been very, very good. Like, and he's nasty. Like, he's good.
It's fine.
Unless Noah Gorman can
They
come
beat
up
Paul
big,
Skeens.
I don't. Huh?
They beat Paul Skeens.
Oh, is
So
this
you're
what we're
telling
gonna
me
do? Hold on.
that Jake
Stop.
Irvin, you can't
Is
beat him?
this
I
what
don't
we're
want to
going
hear
to
it.
say in every
They
game we play
did.
now that we beat Paul Skeens?
Well, you
So,
can't act like
by the
Jake Irvin's
way,
going to shut this offense down. They're going to lose.
is anyone living a better life right now than Paul Skeens?
You keep saying that, and it's kind of creepy, and I don't like it.
He's gonna, dude. He won a
Every time
College
you say
World
that, I
Series
just think you're
last year.
talking about Livy Dunn. Is what I
That's
think.
not what I'm. Well, she might be part of it, but that's not. I mean, at his
See,
age,
I
like
see. Yeah,
you're
yeah, he's living a great life. You said this last episode. Yeah, he's living a good life. He's the best pitcher in baseball,
correct.
and
He's
I'm
gonna win the
sure
Cy Young.
maybe I don't know.
That would be awesome, dude.
By
That
the
would
way, did
be.
you see Kodai Senga came back today and got hurt immediately? That sucks.
Yeah, I hate that for him, but it's the
Yeah, that
Mets,
sucks. Like on a
so
calf injury, that sucks.
yeah. Okay, so I want to say they split, Caleb, but like right now
They need to win both.
I'm
Stop.
so
They don't. They
defeated
can't
by this
split.
team. Like I'm just so beat down.
How different is it tonight if Dylan Carlson catches that fly ball that every right fielder in baseball
It's
besides
completely different, but it's the
catches, and then
Nationals,
Goldie hits that
and
homer for his 2000th hit. By the way, probably say that Goldie 2000th hit on a homer.
yep.
Pretty cool.
You
Awesome
probably should
career,
have
Hall of
talked about
Famer.
that earlier. Yes, that's
Yeah, but I
probably
like
true.
didn't want to talk about the homer because all I could think of was if the game was tied, he wouldn't have hit the homer.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
but that's unfair to him, obviously.
Let's go through a few things before we get out of here.
Hey, hold
Um,
on.
yeah. Oh, I'm
Great
sorry. I thought you were
career,
done.
great card. I'm glad he got to get his 2000 hit as a Cardinal. Hall of Famer in my opinion. That's all I gotta say.
I agree. I agree. Let's talk about the Hall of Fame really quickly, and then I want to get to the trade deadline. We didn't talk about this because Kyle and Kareem were on, but shout out to some of our favorites: Todd Helton, Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and then of course, oh my God, Jim Leland. I mean, four legends of the
Yeah,
game.
that's like the
That's a great fucking class. That is a
yeah,
really good class.
that's like the class of my childhood, which is what
It
was so
really
cool.
is. That is
Like
100% true.
I mean, obviously Adrian Beltre beating him in the 2011 World Series, but I loved Adrian Beltre. I loved all of his antics with people touching his head, and he hated it. Also, Big Poppy touching his head before he got his speech, which I thought was pretty cool.
Helton maybe a little bit before your time as far as his great
No, I
years.
watched Heldon a lot for a long time.
Okay, okay. I didn't remember when he
I don't think he
retired.
retired till like 20, it would have been 2019, 2018, 2017,
Tennessee
around there.
quarterback, legend, man, legend. Um,
2016 maybe. Yeah, I mean he played with Arenado for a while, I know. And then obviously Joe Mauer was one of my favorite players. I absolutely love Joe Mauer. He was on the cover of almost all the MLB the shows when I was growing up. So yeah,
just a
great class.
couple.
And Jim Leland was awesome.
Yeah, couple cool stats about them. I didn't get any from Mauer, even though he was the number one draft pick over the consensus mark prior. That was mainly because the Twins were cheap and they wanted to get the hometown guy. And what a pick that was, right? What a pick that was. Todd Helton, you ready for this? The only player in MLB history with back-to-back 100 extra base hit seasons. Isn't that wild?
Well, having 100 extra base hit seasons is absolutely absurd.
Back-to-back. B2B.
That's
What are you
insane.
reading? What are you looking up?
I was looking at when Todd Helton retired, 2013. So he was earlier than I thought. But yeah,
That's what I thought. And then also last one, Adrian Beltre, one of just four players in MLB history with 3,000 hits, 450 homers, and 5+ Gold Gloves. I mean,
he's the
what a
best third
stud!
baseman I've ever seen,
What an
personally.
absolute stud!
And I'll give you a fun Joe Mauer one.
Okay,
Struck out one time his entire high school career.
that's
It was
he
his
hit
senior
like
year of high school.
800 one year or something like that in high school.
Yeah. So it was his senior year of high school. He had like 5, 6 games left, and he struck out. And he was like, "God damn, I struck out!" Like went into the dugout. And the guy was like, "Did you realize that's the only time you struck out ever?" He played varsity all 4 years. He's like, "Oh no, I didn't know." They were like waiting for him, hoping he was gonna never strike out. And he just had no idea. He's like, I don't do it, I guess. Joe Mauer was
Leland
awesome.
also, Leland, what 16th I think all time in Major League wins. I think that's where he is. That's
First
unbelievable,
all
man.
time in cigarette smoking in the dugout.
Yes, man, smoke
Probably
more.
not.
Listen to Sean Casey talk about Jim Leland is have like it's the best of all time.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a couple questions as I want to get into the deadline, like the moves that have already been made, and then we'll get out of here. Were you shocked to hear that the Orioles, like this one caught me off guard and it almost made me look silly on Twitter, but were you shocked to hear that they were making Mountcastle and Mullins available?
Um, Mountcastle, no, not really, because O'Hearn's been so good. And I think, they have Kobe Mayo, which if they were to keep him and not make that trade, they've had Kobe Mayo playing first base. So you would just bring him up and he'd be a platoon. But Mullins, they're not gonna I don't think they'll trade him now that Austin Hayes is gone. But I mean, he's just kind of been, meh. Like Colton Cowser
I,
is better than Cedric Mullins.
I'm not
So
arguing that. I like
he's a big clubhouse guy, I feel like, but
that's it. That's it. And on a team that's young, it seems like Cedric Mullins has a lot of value on that team.
yeah, I think
And
they'll
also, by
keep
the way,
him.
Ryan Mountcastle, like he still has having a pretty
He
good
crushes
year.
lefties.
Yes, and
He'd be a guy the Cardinals could get. That would be great. But
that's just really I was shocked by both of those. And I actually said to a guy, why would they trade him? And then he pointed out the MLB trade rooms, and it blew my mind because I was shocked that they had even said
yeah,
that they'd make Mountcastle available. But now they
both of those
trade Austin
guys,
Hayes. I don't see that happening.
those two kind of feel like the beginning of what's happening right now in Baltimore. So it would feel kind of wrong for them not to be there whenever they
I
ultimately win a
agree.
World Series.
I don't like
By the
it.
way, you know what I saw today that shocked me? Adley Rushman, and I know batting average is whatever. Adley Rushman is batting 220 against righties this year. Not
I
very good.
know. I know.
Crushes lefties. Don't pitch a lefty against him. But against righties, he's like not that good. He's like 660 OPS.
So trade wise, they got Anthony Dominguez and they got who was the other guy? Oh, they got
Zach
Christian
Eflin.
Pache, who's already been in like 5 or 6 teams, it feels like. But for Austin Hayes, any thoughts on that trade?
I like it for both sides. I think they both recognized their weaknesses and their strengths, and they traded from it. They did
Yeah.
exactly what after that trade went down. I tweeted Mo needs to do what these teams are doing and be creative.
Yeah.
Like I always love MLB trades, like player for player trades in Major League
I was
Baseball.
sort of surprised the Phillies traded Dominguez because he's been so. I mean, and he's got playoff experience. That one surprised me a little, but they have so much depth in that bullpen.
They got what they
Like
needed, right?
they
Like,
did, they
and here's
did.
the thing that came out right after that was that they're looking for bullpen help now.
Right.
So there's like that's smart to do. Like you can trade arbitrage as Mo likes. Mo says arbitrage all the time. He never arbitrages. It's where like you trade something from a strength to get something you need because that's what the other team wants, and then you say, okay, I still have prospects to go get that thing back.
Bingo.
Like that's
Bingo.
what creative teams do. They wanted Austin Hayes and probably only Austin Hayes. He plays a really good defensive outfield and he crushes lefties, always has. So they got him and they said, okay, we'll go get a reliever later. Worry about
And then
that
we
in two
talked
days.
about it a little bit. Then the Orioles turn around and get Zach Eflin from Tampa
That's
Bay.
a great trade.
I assume they're going to probably look at him as their number 3 guy heading into the playoffs. Don't you?
Yeah.
I still think there's another
As long as
big move
Grayson's
to.
healthy, yeah.
I think maybe even a number 4 guy. I think there's still another big move to be made
I don't
by the Baltimore Orioles.
don't you get the thought that the Orioles aren't 100% sold on who the right guys to keep are in their organization. So they
Yeah.
don't want to trade any of them. Like that kind of feels like
Yes.
where they're at. Because
Yeah.
they're all
It
so good.
does.
They all look like, prep frat boys as well.
They all look
But
exactly the
like
same. If you
like
there was
they
a
want
somebody put the meme out there and like the last 5, they all look the same. It's
and then they
hilarious.
and then they drafted Honeycutt and it was like
Correct.
he looks the same as well.
Yep.
Um
Which, by the way, great
yeah,
pick for them. Honeycutt is. I think
20th
he's going to be
overall
a
too. That was a really
stud.
good pick. Was 20 something? 20 something overall. Yeah. Strikes out too much, but if he figures that out, he'll be really good. But yeah,
And then the
I don't know.
Mariners.
I don't think they go get Crochet. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Nothing is more inevitable than death, taxes, and the Mariners trading a key bullpen piece at the trade deadline.
Who they trade?
Stanek, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, they did. But that's because they got Yimi Garcia. They
Yeah,
arbitraged.
I
Mo
know.
arbitrage.
Agreed. I
Trade
that
Lance Lynn and then arbitrage. Like
word
that's
of
what
the
they should do.
day. Word of
Yeah,
the day.
exactly. Don't ask me how to spell it.
After they got Randy Rosarina, which they still need 2 more bats in that lineup. Did I hear right? Did they DFA Ty France?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. I was shocked by that. I heard that on MLB, and I was like,
Yeah, he's
did
who's
I hear
playing
that
first
right?
for them?
So
Rojas? Who plays first for them now?
that's a
Rayleigh,
great
maybe?
question. I should know
I
that
don't know.
because I
Like
do
I
watch
like
a
the
lot of their
Randy
games.
trade a lot for them. I'm not going to speak on the prospects. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Once again, especially when you're training with the Rays, I really
Yep.
don't know. They know, I don't. Peter Benix is really good at his job, but just regardless of the prospects and whatever anyone thinks of that, getting Randy Rosarina in there alongside Julio whenever he's healthy from his ankle problem, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Those two guys,
Um,
though, two of the guys that have been probably most disappointing this year in baseball. Two of them.
yep. If you're
Alexei
the
Talos.
Cardinals, do you take a long look at Yandy Diaz?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. If
I
I'm
mean,
the
I think they're going to
Cardinals,
trade him.
yeah, they are. Oh yeah, they are.
What about where do you stand on Isaac Paredes? Like that's another guy.
I don't trust him. I don't. He's Arenado. Like he's Arenado with his batting ball profile, but he's not as good at it, and I just don't trust him.
He's
Like he just
25,
pulls
dude, and he's
everything.
hit.
I
He
get it.
leads third baseman in almost every category over the last 2 years.
I don't. I whatever it is, I don't trust him.
It's because of
I
his
don't.
name, isn't it? It's because they don't pronounce it Isaac. That's why.
I don't care about that. I just don't trust. I don't trust batters that rely on pulled fly balls as much because Arenado burned me the last year.
You're the one who screams that they should pull fly balls.
That you need to do it at an efficient, at a good rate, but you can't do it all the time. He hasn't hit one home run in his career in the opposite field. I
Fine.
don't
I
trust
don't
that.
care. First of all, I don't care. He leads
I
like the
Arenado
metrics in
ruined
it.
me. This is what he was, and then one back problem, and now he can't do anything. Shout
It
out to him,
feels
by
like
the
to
way.
me
He
if you're
homered
the
today.
Cardinals and you want to really, really make a move to make yourselves a contender, not just be in the middle and hope. All right. Paredes, Diaz, Rooker, you got to go get one of them. You need them. And they're under
It's not gonna
control, by
happen.
the way. First of all, they're team controlled. You're losing Goldie next year. Like they're team
Yandy would be a
controlled.
great move. Yandy would be a great
Like
move. I really like. I think he'd be your leadoff hitter probably. Um,
absolutely.
you want to hear a fun thing? That not fun, but a thing. Arenado
I
has
don't.
two left. You know how it's always like 3-run homers are great. Like those win you games. People always say that because it's just a massive swing of the game in one at bat. Arenado has hit 2 3-run home runs this game, and they've lost both. They've lost comeback. They've lost leads in both. One was to the White Sox, by the way, off Eric Fetty. Fun fact.
Yeah, tonight was rough. Tonight was rough. I'm not
You weren't
happy
even
about it.
watching
So
it. I was.
well,
At least
no, I
you
was
didn't get
mad
upset.
because I was watching by the way, shout out Paris. They put on a hell of a show. So shout out Paris. All right, let's get out of here. Listen,
Last one.
yeah,
Sorry.
yep.
Does Sonny Gray figure it out?
He
And
has
I mean,
to.
like, and I don't
Like
mean figured out and be like mid and not be bad. I mean, figured out and be the guy that we saw for the first month and a half as a Cardinal.
I've said all year that for this team to be good, Nolan and Goldie have to figure it out. They haven't yet.
Right.
They're starting to. They've shown signs of life. Let's say that.
They're at least competent hitters right now.
I will. That's the third guy that has to figure it out. If they
I
want
think
to,
he's the
if
number
this
one
team,
guy, don't
if
you?
they want to make the playoffs, one, he has to. If they want to even think about being competitive in the playoffs, it is yeah, you should be in the lab right now, Sonny. And I'm not saying he's not
I bet he is.
in the lab right now, figuring it the fuck out. Yes,
He's
absolutely.
probably popping Zins in the lab. But
No,
yeah,
no sweating through some like sweater that he has on.
I have a lot of confidence in Sonny Gray. That's what I'll say. I think he's going to figure it out.
I'm
I believe in
nervous.
the
Like
human
I said
being.
earlier, I'm concerned.
I don't think I'm nervous because it doesn't. He's still striking out a ton of people. Like he has. Did you know he has the best K rate right now of any Cardinal in any single season
I did
for a starting
not
pitcher?
more than Bob Gibson.
Yeah. Well, Jack Flaherty had more than Bob Gibson. So yeah,
Huh.
he has the best
Interesting.
ever.
Right now, I'll tell you right now, my concern is what Sonny Gray is right now is what we were concerned about Lance Lynn being. That's what concerns me.
But my point saying that is his stuff is still there. He's not, it's not like he's striking out 7 per 9 and he's also pitching poorly with runs. It's just like, and he still only has a 3.70 ERA, which by the way is not a bad ERA in this year's baseball. You need him to be better than that, but it's not like he has like a 5 or whatever. But before today, because
You
I
mean
can't
like
find
Miles
him on today.
Michaelis?
Yeah, but Miles Michael, we expected that from him, right? I mean, we did, right? Like we said, he's going to be around a 4.5 to a 5. Let me find this real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, you are so
Oh,
bad
God.
at
I
this.
am
We need
really
to have
bad
this
at
shit
this.
pulled up.
Okay. He has
No one
138
is watching anymore.
strikeouts, 138 strikeouts and, oh, brother, and 111 innings. That's really good.
He blew a 5
That's
to
what
1
I'm
lead
just
again
saying.
tonight. After he's blown leads
Okay. But my point is, if you want to sign for optimism, his stuff and strikeout stuff is still there. He's leaving too many pitches over the middle of the plate. So if that's something he can clean up, then we'll be fine.
Okay, so let's figure it out. Let's also get Herrera back up on this team, please.
Does he ever play a game for the Cardinals again?
God, are you not scared? Like I'm so
Paz,
scared
by
they're
the way,
gonna
been really good lately. So give him some
like
flowers.
who? Yeah, absolutely. This isn't a shot at
He's
him,
been
but
really a lot
does
better than I
anybody
thought he'd
believe
be.
that in the long term, Pages is going to be a better Major League Baseball player than Ivan Herrera? Like anybody?
But they could argue that they think Wilson's going to be really good until his contract's out, and then Jimmy Cooks will take that over. They could argue that, and that might be fair.
Okay, or Bernal or whatever, right?
Right. We'll see. Like obviously he's so young, we just don't know yet. But Jimmy Cooks, I mean, that's a guy that a lot of teams would want if you're in trade. I would imagine he's been awesome this year.
I can't answer your question. I'm a Ivan Herrera
I think he
fan.
does. My answer would be yes. I think
I hope so. I just feel like at this point he should be on this team. Dylan Carlson should be gone, and Herrera. Like if you're gonna,
I would have 3 catchers. I would.
I mean, if you're not going to call up Luke and Baker, right, and you're not going to give him a shot to get some at bats against lefties, which it appears that they have no desire to do for some ungodly reason. Whatever I'm sure there's some analytic out there that knows more than I do. However, if you're not going to do that, then yes, let's. And you know how I feel about 3 catchers, like. But if
I would just not view Herrera as a catcher, I would view him as a right-handed bat.
I agree. I think that's what you have to do, and that stunts his growth a little bit, but it doesn't also. He's in the big leagues, and then you don't have to use him behind the plate. So in the offseason, like Kyle said, get him on an arm strength training, get him on whatever he needs to do.
Here's the thing that even if he's not catching and he's just DHing his lefties and he's coming off the bench regularly, he would be, by the way, because there's so many lefties in this lineup. We see left-handed relievers every single game.
Right.
Then he would be getting his at-bats in, but you would also be able to start that throwing program now.
Doesn't it just drive you wild? Yeah, absolutely. He could do that all day long. Like, doesn't it drive you wild that they again just don't want the best 26 on the roster? Like, I keep saying it, but it just like why have him developing? He could be helping your team.
Yeah, they developed him for 2 years, which I talked about when we talked about him going down.
Like,
I think they're doing this from a place of they think they're helping him by having him continue to play every day. I just disagree.
Yeah, we agree. All right. Well, hey, hopefully you're right, and hopefully the Cardinals do take the next 2. If news breaks, we will pop on, right? We have said that we're going to do that.
Yeah, unless I'm at work, but we will try as fast as we can.
Yeah, you work at a golf course with me, bro. It ain't hard.
Okay, I'm not going to call in on my job to do a podcast.
That'd be awesome. From a golf cart while you're picking up the flags.
Around,
that'd be better podcasting than that 2 minutes you had when you were trying to look up Miles Michaelis stats. So that would have been better. than
I
that.
mean, they got really ugly, and I didn't want to look at them anymore.
Good. I told you. All right. Hey, hopefully the Cardinals take the next two. Hopefully the Cardinals are heading into the trade deadline with some momentum. I'm a little nervous. I think y'all are a little nervous, but hopefully they can prove us wrong. So we will talk to you here soon. We'll be back before you know it. Go Cards.